All right, welcome back, everybody. Mellow thing, right here talking about rather Vexxxed II Volume I, doing some little analysis on stuff I just wanted to point out, that it's important to me on the album or the song. So in the last episode, we're talking about Touch of Gold featuring Aldo'Onie. And that track ends, and it has a clip at the end, which is actually the first time my mom is makes an appearance on or at least her voice makes an appearance on my album. So this next track is called Close Calls, featuring my childhood friend Aldo'Onie. I wanted to learn how to make beats and, basically to have something to do outside playing drums in my band, do something on my own and still have flex that creative muscle. So we grew up like skateboarding and biking together and stuff like that. So when I started going to college, I got my first MacBook. And around that time, Aldo started, he had already been like writing like basically poetry, but raps essentially, Like first rapper I worked with was Aldo. Was featured on this one, Close Calls, on rather Vexxxed II Volume I. I want to say 2019, 2018, around that time. Although, he's always been a BMXer, road bikes, all that. He has a bike shop in Montebello called Montebello Bicycles, if you guys ever want to check him out. So he's always on his bike, and that's how he would even come to the studio on his bike and leave late on his bike. One night, 4th of July, coincidentally, he was riding home from downtown LA. Down Whittier Boulevard. My family actually owns a restaurant on Whittier Boulevard as well. So he was about that area, basically across the street from my family's restaurant, riding home towards Montebello. Two cars were going the opposite way. They were shooting back and forth at each other for whatever reason. Unfortunately, Aldo ended up getting caught in the crossfire of that and got hit and collapsed like on the corner by my mom's restaurant. He got hit down near a taco truck. And no one knew what was going on or whatever until, he checked his area where his leg where he was bleeding and stuff. And, people were like, what the heck, Someone gave him a phone and he called 911 for himself. And then he called me. And so I'm like just chilling at home. I didn't live too far from the restaurant, up the block. Fucking crazy. So he calls me. He's like, yo, bro, I just got shot right in front of your mom's restaurant. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on, man? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm right here. I already called the ambulance. I got to go. I got to call my wife. So I tripped out. He called the ambulance, me and then his wife. So just want to let me know on the cheeseman before anything leaks out crazy. So ever since then, he kind of got a little traumatized from that. He had a life-threatening incident happen to him. So he went through all the motions that happens when that happens, Needless to say, it was a little harder to find him, and even though we were good friends and stuff, I gave him his face and then, didn't really want to intrude on what he was going through because it's something I haven't been through. I've never been shot, especially doing something that you love to do. He's just riding his bike, kind of disappeared for a little bit. During that time my dad passed away, and then he reached out after that because he knew my dad. We reconnected around that time, back, and then so we started doing music again a little bit here and there. One of the tracks that we did between that time and then my mom's passing was this song called Close Calls. That's basically like the backstory of like what Aldo raps about on this song is basically that story, and how he felt after that incident, and how he felt about life and himself and everyone around him, all that stuff, which is cool, man, because like I really appreciate that part of like making music. I appreciate about people who write lyrics and rapping is that, they could kind of like put it into words and, make it more therapeutic for themselves, make it therapy for themselves, because coincidentally after Aldo recorded this song with me, I kind of saw him coming out more and coming around more and writing more songs actually. So it's crazy because, what Aldo talks about and what he went through and his experience of being shot on the street, it connected with the clip that I used with my mom, and her experience was something similar, And that's what's crazy because, like I mentioned before, I never really ask anyone or tell anyone what to write about. Just write what you want, what you feel on this song. Let me play the clip for you first.
Pero cuando yo en el balazo él cayó así. Y yo pensé, y tú ya te pegaron. Y hice yo así. Y para enderezarlo, sentarlo, porque se cayó. Y cuando hice así, sentí el balazón que me dieron a mí. No podía respirar. Decía yo. No podía respirar normal. Sentía que me reventaba. Y me ponía yo las manos, sentía espuma, sentía el chorro de sangre que salía. Pero me salió la bala por el otro lado. Me salió la bala y me traspasó el pulmón. Y me quedó traspasado.
So my mom basically is talking about a time when she was shot in the back and it came out her lung and went through 3 ribs. So basically my mom in the 1970s, she had her first husband who was involved in some, let's say, like not so legal type of business. And I guess he was trying to leave that life behind. So when they were leaving, and they were getting to a certain point, they got pulled over by some people pretending to be cops. So when they came up to ask for whatever they were going to ask from my mom and her first husband, his name's Rosendo, where they were going to ask for Rosendo, they flashed a badge or something. And when they did that, my mom had her flashlight and flashed it back to see what their credentials actually were, you know. And it turned out they were trying to rob them or whatever. And so my mom yelled in panic, like, "Oh no, you know, like they're trying to rob us. They're gonna take our stuff." Struggle ensued, and I guess the people who pulled them over shot Rosendo straight through the chest. "You're hit." She tells him, "You're hit." And when she's like trying to get him to stand up from after getting hit, someone shot my mom in the back. When the robbers shot both of them thinking they were dead, they just took off. They thinking they were both. They thought there was only 2 people in the truck, but there was 2 other family relatives or something like that laying down in the back, like trying to avoid the whole situation or whatever, laying low. So they managed to hop over and drive out to someone's house, and they tried to revive Rosendo, but he didn't make it. And my mom, since the bullet came out and wasn't lodged in her, she survived, you know. That's the explanation of the clip right there. So I started making this beat, this instrumental for this one. I started with the piano. So the whole song, I made it in another key essentially first. And before I added the drums and the bass, I pitched it down. I was able to get a nice feeling idea of it. I needed some more backbone, so I added some bass. Added the bass, played a little bass line on that. And to me, you know, so I got a little bit, got a good bass going on. While I was using the bass and, you know, how to connect it, I was like, well, I can play some guitar. So I switched it out, got the guitar, played some guitar in there. It's cool. Got like an amp sim on the bass right here. It's a cool one by Plug-in Alliance. For my guitars, man, I always just use, you know, I use the amp modeling that Logic has. I like it. I got used to how being able to use it and how to work it and stuff, you know. So yeah, after that, started adding some synthesizers. So some synths, you know, get a little grooving in there. A little more 70s style, you know. The Uber high. So right here is like when I usually decide, like, okay, where do I want to take it with the drums or anything else, like before. You know, before I layer it up. So before I went into drums, I was like, man, what else can I add that, like, because what I was really kind of going for more of this track was more of like that, like 1970s soul music, or like, you know, like something like adjacent to that, like some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, Roy Ayers, just that kind of sound, man, like that really self-produced soulful sound, you know. So I was like, all right, well, that stuff has vocals, man, like that has like ooze and stuff, you know. So went in there, added some ooze to it. And that's just 4 layers of me saying, exactly. Pitched them up differently, you know, try to fill it out. So yeah, here. Try to give it some soul, give it a little pain. Put some pain on there, you know. So after that, just went in there and started like really thinking about the drums and seeing if I wanted to add like a more like a like a straight beat or something that's more interactive with the actual music. And that wasn't really that straight, a beat that was straight or something. I was basically trying to be as dynamic as the bass is to kind of keep it that feel, keep that locked in feeling going. So on the drums, it's 5 mics. I'll show you that right now. So the drums, I have a room mic, which is basically like a mic that's kind of farther away from the drums, kind of just capturing what it sounds like in front of the drums or something like that. And the overhead. The overhead, I pan that to the left, Tom mic, kick mic, it's the kick. The rim or the snare mic. So it's pretty much the kit, all together right there. So yeah, so like I said, I try to just get that drum set to be to stay grooving with the bass. Then of course, I had to add some percussion in there. So I added some bongos, shakers, tambourine, some claps. Get it all in there. Bongos, bongos going off, basically the whole instrumental for that one, and so Aldo got on that one, and did his thing on it, like I said, it was hard to find him, so I kind of told him, bro, I'm doing this album, it's dedicated to my dad, I really need you on it, and I sent him the instrumental like in early 2020 or whatever, and that's when my dad passed in June of that year. So he didn't get around to it until after that. So I wasn't able to use it for that first Rather Vexxed album. But that's how long this instrumental's been around. And so, but I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll use it for part 2 or something. I did. And here it is, man. This is Aldo doing his thing on Close Calls on Rather Vexxed II Volume I. But the verse Aldo only just really did was just, one take on the main verse, and a couple layers and dubs on the hook. It's just him doing that one verse, no dubs, no dubs on the verse. He's just
don't carry the plastic hidden transactions to haze when I'm anxious and dazed from
just raw dogging the verse like that. I'll play you the clip into the track.
El balazo y cayó así. Y yo pequeñito, ya te pegaron. Y él siguió así. Y para enderezarlo, sentarlo, porque se cayó. Y cuando hice así, ¡pum! Sentí el balazón que me dieron a mí. No podía respirar. ¡Uy! Decía yo. No podía respirar normal. Seguí aquí me regresé. Y me ponía las manos y sentí ¡pum! Sentí el chorro. Y me salió la mano. Me salió la mano.
Be mellow, smooth top of vibe, valet top of God. In the hood, raised the cruise when I drive. Flowers purple looking like they bruised to get high, light it up and fly. You never know when it's your time to die, but for now.
But yeah, man, check that one out called Close Calls featuring Aldo'Onie. And that one ends, and As another clip comes in that also features my mom. We'll talk about that one next time. See you guys soon, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share, listen to the album, Rather Vexxxed II Volume I, available everywhere. And I'll see you guys later.